Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My dear students, this is IBO-4 and block number 1, and for the part 1 of the block number 1, and the topic is the export import documentation and policies, that is related to IBO-4, and myself Dr. Durga Madhav Mahapatra, lecturer in commerce, Fakirmohan Autonomous College, Baleswar, and as well as counselor of Indira Gandhi National Open University. In front of you, I am presenting my slides as regards to the particular topic. My dear students, we have in the previous days we have completed the IBO 1 of within a 6 number of classes. I have completed it, and today I am taking the IBO 4, and the regional center of Bhubaneswar has provided me 6 number of classes relating to IBO 4. But when I am go through this IBO 4, I saw only 4 blocks are there. Only 4 blocks, not 5 blocks. Only 4 blocks. 4 blocks. Classes are the 6. So within such a stipulated time period, within 1 hour, I have to complete some of the part of block 1, because block 1 is very bigger than the other blocks. Other blocks has an consist of only 2 to 3 chapters, but block 1 consists of 5 chapters. It is the biggest one topic as relates to IBO 4. My dear students, in IBO 4, the unit 1 consists export import trade regulatory framework. We have somehow discussed as regards to regulatory framework in IBO 1, and some similarities are there. And in unit 2, that concept of export sales contract, it is also a very bigger chapter. If you go through your study material, you see in unit 2 is a huge amount of materials are there, but slowly and steadily we can cover this, and as well as you understand the points also. My dear students, now I am presenting unit 1, that is called as a export import trade and regulatory framework. I have already in previous classes regulatory framework or regulatory environment is necessary for the foreign trade or international business. But if you talk about export import procedure and import procedure, or export financing or import financing, or you may call it as a foreign trade, these are to be some of the regulatory issues are there. But first we should know about the foreign trade, which already you know, that is the exporting and importing of goods and services, or you may call it as a, that is goods trade, means that's a one type of means services, mean as relation to the particular relation to the business, internationalization of business. But in foreign trade, particular act which is established not in the year of 1992, it is first the replacement of a new name, is that is called as a Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992. But we in India, as at time of independence, the Export and Import Control Act is there, that is in 1947. Another one is Import Control Order Act is there. After some reformation, 1955 is there. And after that, after 55 means 60 or 60s, Export Control Order Act is there, 1988. And after 1988, there is a tremendous change of liberalization, privatization, and globalization of business in the year of 1991, and the government of B.V. Narasimha Rao, and at this and the Manmohan Singh is the finance minister at that time. He has enforced a one type of regulatory network should be required at a point of a foreign trade, and that regulation can be enforced with the replacement of all these acts, all these previous acts, which is established in 1947, 1955, 1988, and the act is called as a Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act 1992. Then after, the development can be cutting down from this regulation. That's the it will be changed in the Foreign Trade Regulation Rules 1993. But whatever it may be, if anyone asks you the foreign trade regulation is started or it is enacted in the year of 1992, you may called as a the 1992 is the golden year through which the we are enacted with the foreign trade. But the question is, what is the objective? Objective is only one thing: importing and exporting, connectivity of our business, internationalization of our business, or you may call it as export import policy should be a amended in nature in type of business. But the question is, at the time of exporting and importing of goods or services, you may provide through services, or you may call it as a internationalization of business. One thing is important. Not only the one thing, three things have to be important. Listen my words carefully. At the time of exporting procedure or importing procedure, three things have to be important. One is code number, number one is membership, and third number is the registration. My dear students, I want to point it out. Exporting procedure, at the time of exporting procedure or importing procedure, or when you transact with a international trade and commerce, you are focused on only three things. One is code number, another one is membership, another one is the registration. The question is, what is code number? That code number is called as a importer exporter code number. I am reflecting my slides. That is called as the IEC number. This is the first point. Every exporting or importing the of a particular goods, that code number should be obtained. But the question is, to whom it is obtained and how it is obtained. That's some of the regional licensing authorities are there through which it can be obtained. Another one is membership. If you talk about membership, every IEC, after obtaining the IEC number, the exporter or importer should be a member of a certain bodies. And it should be ensured that certain bodies should be, he has member of certain bodies like as a Export Promotion Council or Indian Trade Promotion Organization or related such type of organization. He should be a member. Member means who is a member? The export or importing company or exporting importing individual or exporting importing of procedures. One party is code number is obtained, second one is membership, obtaining membership of these organizations. Third one is, after registering themselves with the particular organizations, he should be filed in another council, that is called as the Export Promotion Council EPC or sales tax authorities for requesting for registration. My dear student, listen. First, obtaining code number. Second, obtaining membering of a certain organizations or bodies related to exporting and importing councils. And third one is getting registration from the Export Promotion Council EPC or sales tax authorities. So, in my slide, I have pointed out the permission of export import are also given by under this act, granting IEC, that is called as the export import code number, and that need of code number for exports, that is called as a CNX, and you may be called as a, it is necessary at the time of a trading of it, export import trading of transactions. Means at the time of, if you suspension of your transaction or cancellation of your transaction, same code number is necessary, importer or exporter code number. Next one, if you talk about legal issues, the first legal issue should be focused, that is called as a Foreign Exchange Management Act, as I have already described in other classes also. After World War II, you know, World War II 1945, the Foreign Exchange Management Regulation Act can be enforced or in operation in 1947, or it will be reformed in the year of 1973. There is a after post independence period, there is several times it will be changed according to the need of revision or comprehensive revision is there. And in the year of 1993, the Foreign Exchange Management Amended Act will be enacted. But finally, the Foreign Exchange FERA, the Foreign Exchange Management Act, FERA will be replaced by a new act that is called as a FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. FERA means Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. FERA, FERA. Repeatedly, I want to say Foreign Exchange Regulation Act. Then it will be changed in the year of 1999. That is called as a FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act, which is in replacement of FERA, and that is called as a present scenario. We talk about not FERA, we talk about only FEMA, means Foreign Exchange Management Act. My dear student, this is the way through which the particular internationalization of business or the trade and commerce will be growth on. But the question is, afterwards, another act is there, Custom Act. I have already stated in the year of 1962, it will be operation in December 13, 1962. But there are three acts are to be abolished and it can be replaced. It can be dissolved with a one act that is called as a Customs Act. But nowadays, you may call that it is under the indirect tax scenario. And if you talk about replacing of earlier three acts, that is called as a Sea Customs Act 1978, is the oldest one. 100 years ago, that particular 150 years ago, that particular act will be started. And Land Customs Act 1924, Aircraft Act 1934, which is related to a mode of transportation, but these can be replaced by a new act will be started, that is Customs Act 1962. Only the objective is the to smoothness of the exporting importing of trade and transaction. This is the a greater movement of you may call it as it is a momentum of the foreign trade. Another one is Export Quality Control and Inspection Act is there, which is established in 1963, only to measurement of the quality control and inspection. And the quality control and inspection is necessary to the quality of the goods exported or imported, or you may call it as that's called as a checking of quality is necessary indeed at the time of the exporting or importing of goods. But the question is, every person's mind or any student can ask me, sir, if you talk about these acts like as a FEMA, FERA, Customs Act, and Quality Control Act, but the question is, it is based only the exporting and importing of goods. But the question is, in India, there is a one policy is very much famous. That policy is called as a EXIM policy. Export Import Policy, EXIM policy. My dear student, this EXIM policy first introduced in the year of 1962 as a historical background you see, and under the approval of the VPC, after the approval of the VPC in the Commerce Ministry, and he has announced the first EXIM policy announcement is 1985. Only this policy will be initially for the 3 years, and they set the guidelines related to import and export. After that, there is another policies come up for the another period of 5 years, that is called as a 1997 to 2002. Means 85 to 1997, there is a huge gap on between the reforming of EXIM policy. There is no new policies come up, but the question is, in 1997-92 there is a real policy of EXIM can be introduced. And after the Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act 1992, it means Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act 1992 will be suppressed. It means there is no need of Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act. There is a new name is come up, that is called as a EXIM policy. My dear student, listen. The Foreign Trade Development Regulation Act, which is enacted in the year of 1992, it is suppressed, and the new act, new policy will come out in the year of 1997-2000, that is called as the EXIM policy. This is the really golden period, and every time, every book you see, every website you go through, they are only focusing in the year of 1997 to 2002. What are these guidelines? What are the frameworks are there? And because it is the foundation year through which the EXIM policy can be come out with the import and exporting of the goods. In examination point of view also, they also describe the in detail regarding the EXIM policy 1997-2002, or what are the developments of EXIM policy. But the question is, all these modification can be done by the Union Minister of Commerce and Industry, or with consultation with the Finance Ministry, with the consultation with the Director General of Foreign Trade, and with the regional networks. Means the policy can be changed, all type of modification on the advisory receipts from these agencies. But the question is, what is the policy? Is always, this policy is meant for the only 5 years, and every 31st March now onwards, that is can be amended also. And the first EXIM policy, which is announced in 1992, but these are some certain specific rules are there. But the question is, in 1992 onwards, that's called as opportunities, global and essential raw material components, and agricultural service sector efficiency, generating new employment, encouraging internationally accepted standard of quality or quality of product. These are the main aim of EXIM policy. But the question in my slide, you see there are within 1997 to onwards, there are several other policies are also come up. That is called as a several EXIM policy roundover. This is my title of my slide. You see in the EXIM policy 1992-97, this is for the 5 years. EXIM policy 2002 to 2007, that is also 5 years. EXIM policy 2004 to 2009, that is also 5 years. In the meantime, interim new EXIM policies come up 2009 to 2010, and EXIM policy, another EXIM policies come up in 2009 to 2014 for the 5 years. And new foreign trade, now in present government has somehow it has changed, that is called as a new foreign trade policy. They are not come up with the EXIM policy, that is called as a 2015 to 2020. This is the recent amendments of a new foreign trade policy, or so-called you called as a EXIM policy. But the Ministry of Piyush Goyal, he has now the Piyush Goyal is look after the railway. He look after the railway department, or Minister of Railway. But but at his under leadership, he has a need to change the particular type of EXIM policy in the year of 2015 to 2020. But if you talk about in this period 2015 to 2020, several new amendments have to be come up. What are the amendments? You see in my slide, there is a All India Institute of Ayurveda is signed a memorandum with the Sydney University also, and MOU with the other government, Finland also, to strengthen regarding the tourism, and MOU with the Mongolia for animal health and dairy products also. And in the year of they are also focusing the LNG, liquefied natural gas, with the some other developer also. These are and also some MOU with the France for skill training also. And in 2000 June 2019, in India and Kazakhstan has an 15 agreement as regards to defense trade in the investment also. But in a 1st April 2019, MOU with NABARD also, NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development also, NABARD, and as well as some other in their agreement with the South African Institution for Rural Development also, and UAE also, and India and Iran with oil trading agreement, bilateral trading regarding the oil also, and MOU with the China for a non-basmati rice to the exporting basmati rice, non-basmati rice of the product also. And India also upgraded their trading partner with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization also, that is called as a NATO. Every time you read in the newspaper, that is called as a NATO allies, that is called as Atlantic North Atlantic Treaty Organizations are there. Means my question is here, in 2015 and 20, the government is different, focusing only the not only the merchandising export, service industry export, they are main focusing about the different ways through which the foreign trade development can be made in successful. But another some points are there. They are also promoting small scale and industries also. They are promoting export from the India's MEIS, FTP also, foreign trade policy, FTP, foreign trade policy also. And also they are increasing support of various products, additional merchandising through export from the India scheme also. In another one, the central board excise and custom with the integration declaration of a single window clearance system also. And they are also MOU with the South Korea for integration of market approach, like as a towns of export excellence, or look into the East policy also regarding the infrastructure and other ways also. I mean, these are the some of the issues which can be explore a new market for a particular type of services or particular type of management of services, through which the international trade, international commerce can be enhanced in a different ways. This is the overall concept of how the legal issues, or how the international trade or foreign trade or India's foreign trade historical concept background are there. But in unit 2, the topic is another topic is that is called as a exports sales contract. It is a very bigger topic, or bigger particular chapter is there. Export sales. The question is, what is export sales, exporting sale, or what is the difference between domestic sale of contract or export sales contract? I have already somehow discussion in IBO-1. But the question is here, at the time of domestic sales, there is no need of any type of rules and regulation is required. Means domestic sales means within a country you can sell your product, or you can supply your goods, or you can supply your you can to supply your services also. But in a foreign country, there is an, if you talk about in exporting sales country, there is a need of know about the guidelines and laws. Guidelines and laws, it means there is a question of here, the every it will be the respective national laws in each country and domestic transactions are concerned. Respective countries have respective guidelines are there. But in the exporting transaction, two nations, exporter or importer, they have some questions are arises. And which country's law is applicable to which type of export contract? Means if you exporting China, some exporting sales contract is different. If you exporting the goods to the USA, or if you exporting goods to the Japan, or if you exporting goods to the same other country, there are different type of export sales contract are different. It means different countries have one different laws and different guidelines are there. So we have to know the equip guidelines, or equip guidelines means here we know about the guidelines of a certain particular countries. If any party fails to mention the applicable law or any type of he does not know about the any guidelines, the dispute is arises. I have already discussed in different other classes disputes. And in a particular dispute, the court will decide which law should be applied. Means that is the one that is called as a, each country has developed a set of rules and the court can consider on this issue. That is known as a conflict of law situation. My dear students, within a domestic sales, there is no need of necessary of any guidelines or law is there, or exporting of goods and services there. But if you talk about other countries, exporting of other countries, the exporter or importer should know about the every country's guidelines, means laws, like as a country's law will be applicable to the export contract, that is called as a sales contract. If you do not consider on that type of issue, that is called as a conflict of law situation in the arranges. But the question is here, some factors are there at the time of considering by the court, like as a, the place of contract is signed, or the language of the contract is written. Which language? If I am exporting goods to the China and the China people are there using the Chinese language, but we are using the only English language or Hindi language, here the question is there is a differentiation of languages and the place of business of the parties. On this basis, the court normally identify one law that is called as a proper law. One student in IBO, he has asked me, sir, what is the proper law? Here, proper law means at the time of conflicting of the selling of or exporting sales contract, the court has identified one a law that is called as a proper law. Neither your guidelines is followed, nor other countries guidelines is followed. It is a in transition between a new type of law is come up, that is called as a proper law, proper proper law, and the law which is applicable to the contract, and that is called as a where the contract is carried out or where the delivery is to take place. That type of this law can be enacted, and that can be, this is called as a, we can say this is called as a conflict of issues can be solved through proper law. I am always in IBO proper law, that is the necessity of a proper law, and that is the basic distinguish between the domestic contract and export sales contract. I have already stated all contracts are agreement, but all agreements are not contract. Some are for acceptance, capacity of parties, consideration. There are several points I have to discuss. But again, which are to be the law, which are to be enforced by the law, or the agreement which is enforced by law, that is called as a contract. But here, the contract means the court can decide a certain guidelines that is called as a proper law, and which is applicable to delivery of the goods or exporting of the goods or importing of the goods. Next onwards, we can know about the what are the international contract terms. that is called as a Incoterms. My dear student, listen. That is called as a Incoterms. It means Incoterms means international contract terms. Before we starting our business or exporting or importing of goods or procedures should be, are to be undertaken at the time of undertaken through getting coding number, through membership of the organization, or through getting registration, we should know about some of the terminologies, some of the terminologies, otherwise we face some problem. And that terminologies are called as a which is issued in the year of 1990. But now onwards the government is also published, no, government means international organization, published a new terminology that is called as a 10th September in 2019, and which is came into enforce in the 1st January 2020. On 2020, there are some other type of related terminologies are arises to for exporting and importing of the goods. The question is, Incoterms means who has developed this in Incoterms, that is called as the International Chamber of Commerce, ICC, and they have interpreted some of the parties to understand the international of business or foreign trade. These Incoterms are globally recognized. It is a set of standard. For example, if any student asks me, sir, in accounting, some concept and conventions are there. Afterward, a new guidelines is there, that is called as a Indian accounting standard is there. And afterward, international accounting standard is there. Afterward, convergence of Indian accounting standard with international accounting standard are there. Now, presently, if you talk about what is the guidelines of a accounting, you may say that is called as a SAR. IFRS is the new guidelines, new concept of accounting, that is called as the International Financial Reporting System, because every country has a similar nature of accounting system, so that in India also we are adopting such type of system or adopting the financial preparation of a financial statement. Similarly, my dear student, for a foreign trade, for a exporting or importing of goods, the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, has developed a globally recognized standard or for the discussion on these issues regarding the sum of the terms. The question is, what are these terms? There is a 12 to 13 terms are there. Number one term is, you see in my slide, very interesting, it says X hyphen works. That is called as a XW. XW means every importer or exporter has to know about the that particular terminology. It means XW means the seller has his obligation to deliver the goods and which is available at a premises, that is called as a factory or warehouse, to the buyer, but the buyer bears all the cost and risk. If the buyer bears all cost and risk of taking the goods from the seller's premises at a desired destination, that is called as X hyphen works. It means, my dear student, if China as a country or some one importer is there, he wants to purchase some goods from India, and the particular buyer is a China's importer. If he purchase some of the goods from my side or from in my name or from my premises, the particular cost which is allocated to the particular type of buyer, that is called as a minimum obligations, or that's called as a minimum desired destination of approach, is called as a X works. X hyphen W. Another one is free carrier, FCA. Free carrier means that is called as it's a seller's obligation to be fulfilled to deliver the carrier named by the buyer. If a carrier named by the buyer means, carrier means here transporting of the goods at a one place or one point. If I'm indicating the particular point, the buyer name, address, all stipulated guidelines I have to frame out, all charge is concerned. That is the term which is used by any transport. That is called as a free carrier. You see, in every time, sometimes some carrier, goods carrier says it's called as a free carrier. What is free carrier means? The in the name of buyer, the goods are to be delivered. In the name of the buyer, the goods at a point, at a one point to another point. It is generally used in all type of business. But in similarly, ICC has developed such type of free carrier, FCA. Another one is free alongside ship. What is free alongside ship? It means when the goods are placed alongside a vessel. Vessel means here at the time of alongside of the ship, one in the name of port or at the time of port of shipment, or the buyer has bear all cost, means the goods are to be kept at a port itself. That type of any type of buyer has bear all cost or loss, that is called as a free alongside ship. Means the buyer has bear any type of loss or any type of all cost as relates to the, it is below or it is near to, which is kept at a alongside of the vessel or alongside of the ship also. You may call as it is a inland waterways transport through which it is used. That is called as a free alongside ship. That is called as a FAS, FAS. And next one is the free on board. Everybody know free on board. Free on board is everybody know. That is called as a free on board means the seller also fulfills obligation, that is called as a sent to through ship or rail or any type of transport communication, and the buyer has to bear all the costs, the or any type of loss it arises, that is called as in any type of arrangement, that is called as a free on board. Board means here at the time of delivering the goods or at the time of passing of the goods from through ship or through any type of delivery transactions, and that type of, if the buyer has to bear all costs, that is called as a free on board. Another one is free cost and freight. Here cost plus freight, CIF, it means the seller must pay the cost and freight. Means that is called as a destination point. The if the seller bears all type of risk or arrangement, that is called as a cost and freight, CIF. FOB and CIF, my dear student, in your book you see there is a several times these two terminologies are used. And FOB, always it is meant for the seller's fulfill his obligation, but cost and freight, the seller must pay the cost of the transporting the goods, cost of the goods, and freight necessary to bring the goods in the name of port of destination. It means any loss arises or any type of transferring the goods to the buyer, if any type of problem is arises, that type of can be bear by the seller also. Another one is the cost, insurance and freight, that is called as CIF. Here the cost plus insurance, insurance is added at the time of any loss or damages arises during the carriage, and the particular at the time of sea or inland waterways transport. Similarly, the cost plus insurance plus freight is added, and the seller has an obligation under CFA also. Another one is carriage paid to, that is called as a CPT, carriage paid to, CPT. It means seller also pays the freight or carriage of the goods in the name of destination, or any type of goods transferred from delivery of custody of carrier, that is called as a carriage pay to. Carriage pay to means I have to pay certain goods transferring from the in the name of destination or transferring the goods that is delivered at a custody of carrier. Custody means that is necessary any type of not getting of loss in arises, that is called as custody of carrier. Another one is carriage and insurance. Here insurance is there, carriage is there, similar in nature. It means the seller has an obligation to CPT also arises at the time of cargo sending from one place to another or through mode of any mode of transportation, that is also arises. Means the FOB and CIF are the two important terminologies, and some other terminologies are to be added some addition to at the goods. Another one is delivered at a frontier. Delivered at the frontier means that is called as a similarly the seller fulfills his obligation to deliver. Deliver means cleared or exporting at a point, peace at a frontier. It means frontier means that is called as a any type of border of origin country that can be cleared, means all goods are to be cleared by the carried by any roll or raid, means all frontier means everything can be cleared enough by the particular seller. And the delivered by X skip, that is called as a DEC. It is also named as a port destination. Say similarly, seller fulfills his obligation to deliver the goods available to the buyer through unclear import in the name of port destination. If any type of goods are not to be cleared, or in the name of any problem is arises in the name of sea, inland waterways, that type of delivery also X skips also. But the question is, some question is some points are to be also related to these are related to only seller point of view. Another one is deliver X query also duty paid. Similarly, the seller fulfills his obligation to deliver available to the buyer in the name of port destination. It means at a point of port destination, so if carriage is arises, if freight is arises, if any destination point loss is arises, if at nearby sale or ship problem is arises, side by ship the goods are to be delivered, the or any port destination arises. In these such cases, some of the expenses, some of the duty which are paid by the seller and which can be delivered in the destination point of the buyer, that a point is called as a such type of expenses arises. But the question I have already said, so one point, one important topic is that is called as a FOB. The question is, what is FOB? FOB means that is called as a, it is called as a port of shipment or freight on board. You may call it as a freight on board. You may call it as a port of shipment contract. But the question is, as an exporter, what type of FOB contracts are there? In the examination, some question may be asked, what are the FOB and what are the duties and responsibilities there? These are some of the concerns through which the particular goods or particular services can be rendered upon. But here, my dear students, in a FOB, there are different type of following duties or exporters under FOB contracts are there. What are the contracts? Contract for supply of the goods, with a delivery of the goods, with a vessel name, buyer, buyer's name, and port of shipment. Port of shipment means in which date the port has received the goods and bear all cost, bear all risk, and delivery at a time, or any type of nearby the ship's rail. Ship's rails means nearby the any rail transport is there that can be provided, and that documentary the evidence or delivering the goods can happen borne by the own expenses. Always borne by the expenses means seller's point of view. If these are the some of the related to FOB contract, but what is the duty? The duty is only with a due notice it can be taken, or the goods sent in right time, right place, and the payment can be made. And for the particular contract, these are called as the FOB contract. If you talk about CIF, I'm always said CIF is also important. CIF means that is called as a port of destination. You see, FOB means port of shipment. You are to related to shipment of the goods. Means you are entering into a contract to sending the goods through a ship and by the seller to the buyer only. But here CIF means the named port of destination. Port of destination means where the port is situated and how far the supply of the goods is confirmed with his who can arrange these goods and who can bear all type of pay freight charges or any carriage of goods, or shipping space arrangement, shipping space is arrangement, or any type of risk exposure necessary. Who is a authorization of a particular exporting the goods, and who can load the goods, and who is taken into account of a particularly the goods are to be loaded in a particular vessel, who bear the expenses, who procure the particular cost. I mean, there is a certain values are there. So, who at the time of particular policy, some insurance contracts are also there through which the CIF or CIF contract can be bears enough. And sometimes some risk related to exposure or negotiation of that is, in a clean negotiation of bill lading is there, but in other classes we have detailed discussion regarding the bills also. These are the some issues related to port of destination. Port of destination means it is near to be a loading and related to unloading and ship space to ship charges to route expenses to risk to documentation to authorization to insurance to vessel loading and the port of shipment activities or beers of activities that are to be a covered enough as regards to CIF, that is called as a you may call as a carriage insurance freight, or you may say called as a port of destination contract. But the question is, some duties are there. What are the duties? The duty of concerned, like as a what type of duties of an importer? He should accept the document. He should conformity of the document. That's called as a contract of sale. I have already stated regarding some rules, so proper law is there. If any conflict is arises, and in previous classes we have already discussed, if any conflict is arises, some guidelines are there. That is called as a litigation is there, arbitration process is there, conciliation process is there, proper law is there. But in such a scenario, and the pay and sale of contract and price and receive the goods at a port destination bears the risk, and marine insurance incurred. Who can look into this insurance incurred, and nearby the port and rail facilities? These are the most of the focusing areas can be undertaken at the time of duties of a importers. But the question is only two things. In a examination point of view, everybody says what is the relation between FOB and CIF. Another point is delivered duty unpaid. It is also some points related to point what is deduced delivered duty unpaid. It means similarly the seller fulfills obligations for the buyer for the importation or the any cost or risk is available. Mean the seller bear all cost, risk or any custom formality. It is related to custom formalities. Custom duty can be paid like as a duties, like as a taxes, like as a office charges, which is payable by the importation, and that can be made is called as a delivery duty unpaid. Delivery duty, who can delivery duty? The goods are to be delivered through the ship and through transportation it can be reached at a destination place, but some duties are not paid, or this is called as a unpaid. In such scenario, in such a way, the particular type of other way can be made by the sellers and say that bearance of activities regarding cost, regarding the custom, regarding the formalities. And this term is also used in all modes of transport. Here modes of transport means whether rail, whether road, whether sea, whether air, any transport it can be made. Another one is exporting or importing means that does not mean that only involvement with only sea. That also involved with road or rail, air. Another one is seaborne activities. Another one is deliver duty paid. Here it is paid, it is non-paid. So similarly, The seller fulfills obligations to deliver the goods available at the name place importation, and seller bear the risk at a charge delivering the good. But seller maximum obligation can be made of alternative. Here delivery paid means sometimes seller maximum they have been giving benefit to the buyer that I have to bear all type of activity, all type of amount of activity, and that is called as a maximum. One student asked me, sir, these are the two terms are the similar. Yes, there are two terms are similar, but there is some differences there. That is called. But my dear student, above all, some general conditions of export contracts are there. We are not yet discussing about the exporting procedure. We are discussing general condition. What are the general condition at the time of exporting contracts? Number one is the parties. Parties is necessary. Who are the two parties, and who are the name of the buyer, and what is the maybe called as a description of the goods, or you may call it as a, this is called as a inquiry, or this is maybe called as a verification of a prospective importer, or verification of, it's called as a one type of offer of a proposal to one party to another body. Some pro forma invoice is there. Later on classes we have discussed in detailed way. The parties is necessary. Another one is the description of the goods. You know the product description means in detail. That's called as a technical. That's called as a physical. That may be a chemical way. Which type of product it belongs to, that is necessary, and the quality in terms is also necessary, and the total price per unit, what is the price per unit value, what is the total value, and what is the currency needs of a particular currency means here foreign exchange currency. Here the currency means what is the convertible terms, what is the currency risk exposure that can be counted. Tax and charges, packing are there also, marketing and labeling also there. Another one is I am somehow point is left, that is mode of transport. Which mode of transport you belongs to, or delivery of a place and schedule. Another one is inspection and documentation, or mode of payment. These are the some of the issues as relates to the in a particular credit period. Credit here, credit period means credit terms are there. But the question is, here the question is, these are the similar terms as related to export contract. But the question is, what are the conditions on sale? Sale, what is the condition? Somehow you focus on validity. You somehow you focus on acceleration clause. Acceleration clause, it means the pieces of the product may increase or delivery of the product. It means somehow the due to the price variations, that's important. Delivery schedule also important. Inspection is important. Force majeure clause is necessary. For majeure clauses means sometimes it fails to deliver the goods. Sometimes it fails. Means the goods are to be contracted with the sending the at a destination place. Sometimes it fails also. So therefore, the exporter also indicates the force majeure clause in order to get the rescue of such condition. Like as in recent example, you see in Suez Canal, so one ship is in between the Suez Canal, that is there in failure. Some their now movement is so actionable, and so there is a huge and problem are to be arises. These type of majeure clause is necessary. Also, payment term is also necessary, and other obligation like as a post sale service, providing spare parts also, warranty cases also, guarantee cases also, or any type of confirmation of order. Sometimes no, exporting and importing, one problem is there, confirmation order means the buyer sent confirmation to the exporter on signing the particular duplicate copy, that is called as a confirmation order. Or export license agreement, it is also important, export license agreement. And in such a case they have obtaining, I have already discussed, they are obtaining some authorities also. And procedure of finance, every exporting and importing of goods, finance is necessary. Financing necessary means somehow some banks have to be involved with such undertaking of some exports, and as well as in different source of action and source way through which the particular exporting can be made. My dear student, these are the some of the issues as related to general conditions as related to exporting of the goods. But the question is, procedure means there is a number of documents which are copies which is submitted to number of government departments, or you may call it as a, that is called as a very difficult way to get exporting of goods and services. In such a case, different organizations are there, export promotion council is there, and foreign trade policy is there to solve this way in a different way. That's called as a positive mode of direction towards the foreign trade. This is a one part today's offer, the one part class of a unit one of your IBO-4. My dear student, in next class, another two topics are related to IBO 1 part 2. We have to discuss in detail. Then only you have to understand a better way really what happens the particular foreign trade is carries. My dear student, I am completing my IBO 1 part 1 topics, and if any question you may ask me or you may put through a chat box, then I can may answer in front of you. But my dear student, first of all, in unit 2, that is called as a some terminologies are there, that is called as a intercom, and that is called as the ICC. Through by the ICC, you have to read properly, one by line. Then you have to better understand the what terminology is says, and then you have to better way you read the summary also. What is a POB? What is a PC? There is a different type of terminology is there. My dear students, if any questions you can ask me,